My name is Christian Nix. You're watching Barefoot Medicine Training, Better Living Through Ancient Medical Secrets. In my last video, I talked about how to read your body's symptoms. The topic of today's video is food combining secrets from ancient medicine. Now, in my last video, I talked about how to read your body's symptoms. Symptoms are like a coded language from your body to your conscious mind. When you have a symptom or a flare-up or some symptom starts to nag and bother you, you notice that consciously. That is a message from your body to your mind to say, yo, we have a problem over here. If you can decode this language, the language of your symptoms, knowing what to do and how to fix them and how to fix your body to stop that symptom from nagging at you is actually the easy part. Now, when it comes to digestive health, this means we necessarily have to talk about diet, but not just diet in the way that, say, fad diet industry gurus and so-called health and wellness people would have you understand it. In the first place, when it comes to your diet and how you should eat, there's one important point that almost none of those people ever bring up. Okay, certain foods do not go together, like ever. There are a lot of things you should never ever combine ever when you sit down to eat. Okay, if you want to have strong, healthy digestion, don't mix certain things together. This is a topic that nobody talks about. Everybody assumes that you can eat any food in any order and combine it with any other food. Like, that is absolutely not true. And it's probably the biggest single thing that most people with digestive illness could do to make their lives less miserable, is just don't combine a lot of foods together. Years ago, I ran a practice on cruise ships. Now, as you can imagine, a lot of the patients who came to see me were grotesquely overweight, let's put it politely. Getting a decent result for such patients was simultaneously the easiest thing in the world and about as frustrating as anything I ever tried to do in medicine. It's easy to get good results with these people because they're literally doing every single thing wrong when it comes to diet, and not just diet, but some of their other habits too. So just getting them to be less wrong about how they were thinking about their health and how they were treating their body and their condition was not a high bar to clear, but it was also insanely frustrating because I would walk through the dining area and watch these same patients who had just come to see me in the treatment area, and they were loading up at the buffet with foods that absolutely should never ever be eaten together. And so, for example here, just so you know what have some reference to what I'm referring to here, you do not eat bacon and orange juice in the same meal. You don't do that if you have a digestive illness, or if you want to not have a digestive illness. You do not combine certain fruits, like watermelon and cantaloupe, with other foods, like eggs or oatmeal, right? And coffee this is the biggest one, the most common question, right? Can I have coffee? Coffee is an entire lecture by itself, but for the sake of time and for this video, the molecular structure of caffeine in coffee is almost identical to methamphetamine. So that should tell you something about what coffee is actually doing to your system. And people drinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cups of coffee a day, you are driving your system toward real problems. The average American combines so many foods together that no amount of digestive potency can possibly manage or sort out the culinary disaster coming down the esophagus. So as a starting point, if you want to see improved digestion, by all means, simplify your food combining choices. Now, providing any kind of comprehensive guide to food combining in a short video like this is beyond the scope of what I'm doing in this video, okay? Because you would need to tell me your specific organ imbalances so that I could... Why? Because I would need to know your specific organ imbalances before, and here we get back to the coded language about symptoms, right? Before I would have any ability to describe what food combinations would benefit your digestive condition and which food combinations you should avoid. In other words, I would need to know your specific situation before I could say anything intelligent. So I'm not going to try to provide a food combining guide in this short video. I put that elsewhere. In fact, that's why I put together everything I know about food combining in one place, in something I call the pivot protocol. The pivot is the name the ancients gave to the system inside your body that knows how to heal you on its own. In other words, if you fix the pivot will fix the rest of you. Okay, your pivot is primarily your digestion, but it's more than digestion. Obviously, digestive health is the basis for every other system in your body, but the pivot is a very complicated, complex interaction between your major digestive organs, including your spleen, your liver, your intestines, your stomach, right? Those are the four main ones. And the interaction between your digestive system and your immune system and your body's ability to manage and respond to stress, right? Which nominally has to do with what we in the West call the nervous system, okay? It's also related to sleep, obviously. I've made this complex system easy for you to understand inside the pivot protocol. In other words, you don't need a lot of medical training. I can teach this to children as young as 12 years old. The reason I know that is because I have done. Okay, you can check it out in the link below this video. In ancient Greece, Hippocrates, the so-called father of modern Western medicine, is credited with the saying, "Let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine thy food." Most people think that's just a lovely saying, but they actually have no idea how to eat according to their specific symptoms. And that's the key that I'm trying to address in this video. If you want to know how to eat according to your specific symptoms, you need to check out the food combining guide that I created that's inside the pivot protocol. Once you know how to identify your symptoms and you understand the mechanisms giving rise to these coded messages that are coming from your body to your conscious mind, learning how to eat for your specific imbalance is not only easy, it's fun, because it gives you a kind of insane confidence, a kind of feeling of invincibility. Once you figure out how you can eat to cancel out your symptoms, you do feel differently about your condition, about health and illness, about your aging process, because you know in ways that you can prove to yourself. You eat these foods and these symptoms disappear. That's how it works, right? You can prove to yourself every single day that your condition is no longer out of your control. And a mental shift happens where you start to feel very empowered about your health and your aging process. You finally have leverage over your body's process for maintaining health, recovering from illness, and even over the aging process itself. The aging process really comes down to several key kind of criteria, or metrics, if you will. Number one, how well are you sleeping? Number two, what are your pain levels, if any? And three, most important of all, how's your digestion? Digestion here, as I'm using the term, necessarily includes two specific functions. First of all, are you assimilating good nutrients correctly? Now, this implies, of course, that you are ingesting good nutrients in the first place, but you need to absorb those nutrients correctly. That's what digestive fire, digestive potency, a strong digestive capacity or a strong digestive function is about being able to extract the nutrients from the food that you put into your stomach. You eat the food, it goes into your belly. Does it run through you and go out the other side without any benefit to your organs? For a lot of people, the answer is that's exactly what's happening to you. That's why you're sick and weak and run down and fatigued and get ill all the time, et cetera, et cetera. You must have strong digestive fire to extract the nutrients that are in the food, and hopefully you know better after you learn what I have to teach you, how to put good nutrients and good food combinations into your body in the first place. And then the second part of digestion, are you eliminating waste effectively? If not, and you have the equivalent of a backed up, blocked up sewer going on inside your body, inside your gut, you can be sure that your health is going to suffer from that. In other words, there's no mystery to how you age gracefully. You need good sleep, you got to assimilate good nutrients, and you got to eliminate waste. Now, if you're in pain, that's also beyond the scope of this particular video, but you can get good tips for how you manage and how to manage and recover from chronic pain conditions, even the most severe kind of pain like neuropathy. That's in my Nix Institute for Self-Healing and Integration. That link is also below this video. The truth here is the art of food combining is about the oldest form of medicine there is, and the place to learn it best is not from some latter-day guru whose whole concept of food combining is to tell you about magic superfoods. God help us all. I'm here to tell you that the whole superfood thing is total nonsense. There's nothing magic about any food, whether it's a superfood or not. Okay? In fact, most of the people who rely on superfoods for nutrition are causing other imbalances in their organs. The classic example and the easiest one is juicing. People think like juicing is so nutritious. Juicing creates a lot of mucus in the body. Juicing is overwhelming and very, very hard and damaging to your digestive fire. It's one of the worst things you can do if you have a digestive illness is to think that you're going to benefit by juicing or eating raw foods. That's the other big one that I come up against. Eating raw foods is not good for your digestion. You cannot get good nutrients out of raw foods. Okay? So after almost 20 years of practice, please believe me, I know what I'm talking about. If the so-called superfood that your guru is telling you to take is strong enough to help one person in one situation with one given condition or set of symptoms, it's also strong enough to push you out of balance and create illness if it's not the thing that your body needs, or if your digestion just isn't strong enough to handle it. Okay, you can't have it both ways. Anything that's strong enough to help you is also strong enough to make you ill and harm you. The real art of food combining was developed thousands of years ago, and the level of knowledge and sophistication about this topic that comes out of the ancient medical system I discovered and studied with my mentor in Central America and taught to doctors at the highest level will truly, truly revolutionize the way you think about food as medicine. So if you want more information on food combining and you want to learn the ancient medical system that is the last word, the last thing you will ever have to learn when it comes to diet, digestive health, and anything to do with food combinations, check out my pivot protocol in the link below. Or if you want good solid skills in treating a variety of chronic conditions, including the aging process itself, you can check out my Nix Institute for Self-Healing and Integration. Both links are below this video. Okay, thanks very much for watching. I'll be back with more great stuff.